better with our time here, that's for sure. I'm always like 20 minutes late coming on.
If you get a musician to be on time, that's pretty damn impressive. Like,
Yeah, right. It's so true though. So yeah, here we are, Saturday morning. Fuck, we're at like noon my time. We're on the same time zone then, correct? 'Cause you're
yeah.
just down.
Where are you based out of? Where are you at?
I'm out of Ontario here, closer to Toronto.
Oh, so you're Canadian. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I've only been close to Canada once. I took my sister to college up in Syracuse, and then we decided to go check out the Niagara Falls. And I
Oh
learned that,
yeah.
yeah, the United States side of Niagara Falls really sucks. You can't see shit. You just see like the top of the water, and everybody's like, "Oh, you got to go to Canada to see the good stuff." And I'm like, I've been looking at this thing in history books for 20 years, and it didn't show that it sucks from this end. They never told
No.
us that all the good pictures are from Canada, you know?
Yeah, yeah, we've got the best side of the falls, that's for sure. We have the big horseshoe. We do all the lights and fireworks.
It's like
You,
everything. Like it's so funny because like here in the States, when I was going through school and stuff, we see pictures of the falls like from the bottom and all that stuff, and it's then when you go and you realize like that's not even possible from the United States. Like you have to go to Canada to see it like that.
yeah, right.
Kind of a little bit off, It's like, wait a minute.
It's yeah, you guys got the shit out of the stick on that. I'm actually half American too, though. Like I've got the dual, so I'm originally from Georgia. I got my Georgia shirt on today, and
Okay.
then I've been up here for about 4 years now. This time around, so
Georgia. Yeah, I like that.
yeah.
Yeah, you don't have the accent from Canada, so I didn't know
No,
that.
when I first come in to Canada, I had my heavy Southern accent because I was down there for about 5 or 6 years before I come back up here.
Yeah.
And then now that I'm here, I've lost every accent. I'm just kind of playing Jane now, right?
Cool. So is there a
But
way to see like how many viewers we have? Do we have any viewers?
we got one watching right now. A
Quick.
few more will jump on for sure now that we're live. It'll pop up on everyone's feed, right?
Awesome.
Oh, Selena's watching. She's one of your big fans. She's actually the reason I found
Hey.
you. Actually,
Oh, I do see it. I see the little comment that she made. It's very, very
yeah,
cool.
right.
I'm gonna have to like focus my eyes on that.
Yeah,
Good morning, Selena. She is the one that hooked us up, right?
that is correct. Actually, she's been kind of pulling some strings for me down there, get me some of your actually real locals like yourself and Draven, right?
Mm-hmm. That's so funny. Draven is my son's name, so when I hear that, I'm always like, yeah, take a minute to realize who she's talking about, and I realize she's talking about some of the musicians because that's kind of a rare name around here.
It's actually a rare name. I didn't know anyone until your son now, and then having Michael Draven there, right?
Yeah, well, there was a popular movie like back in the '90s that had, Draven, and that was that's where the name came from.
Yeah, up to Crow, is it not?
Yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah.
The crazy story about that. I'm just killing time now. So anyway,
Yeah, no, that's what we're here for, man.
kind of a weird fact now. Like 2 weeks ago, me and my brother drove up to Wilmington, North Carolina, because me and him are big Ninja Turtle fans. And, they're like big fans. Like we, collect stuff and just big nerds. Anyway, so we decided that we wanted to drive down there and see like where they film parts of that movie, the original one. And the scene where Shredder comes out and like they reveal the bad guy and he talks to the kids and stuff is filmed in a little abandoned warehouse out in Wilmington, North Carolina. So my brother and me was like, let's go out there and let's film ourselves like walking around this abandoned warehouse. We went and did it, and kind of had to do a little B&E to get in there. But, that's okay. Sometimes you got to take chances for what you care about in life.
No, exactly, right?
So we ended up getting some really cool footage of this old decrepit building that just barely exists anymore. And then I went back to the hotel and we're like Googling stuff, and I find out that actually that building was also where they filmed parts of The Crow.
Oh.
So I was like, wow, I didn't realize that it's a filming location for both movies. And then I started digging deeper and found out that that was actually where the guy was shot and killed, where Brandon Lee was killed at.
Oh, wow. Right there in that building.
Yeah, like right there in that spot where I was standing. So it made like that whole day just feel kind of eerie, It's like, man, now it's got a total different feel to it,
No doubt, right? Like But yeah, Ninja Turtles fan. I remember seeing the first one in theaters when it came out. We begged my old man to take us, right? And then as I got older, I went to the Comic-Con and I bought a fucking Donatello onesie.
Nice.
Yeah, so
I think I still have. I'm pretty sure I still have a Donatello onesie somewhere.
yeah. I had my
to.
original Ghostbusters shirt hanging up right behind me there.
I want to see like so the girl remake. I didn't think was that great. I was like, you know, I'm not really buying it. But this new Ghostbusters they're coming out with, I'm super stoked to see how they do that. Have you seen the trailer for that yet?
I kind of the little kids kind of find the truck in a fucking little garage or something, right?
A barn. I'm just kind of like, I do want to see that. That's going to be cool.
No, I'll check that out. I did watch the other one. It was funny and stuff, but it wasn't the Ghostbusters, right? Turtle Power.
Yeah, it's the same, you know. It's all right, but it's you gotta give stuff a try. You
know? Yeah. It wasn't meant for me, anyways. It's for the newer generation, right? So
I think so. Yeah.
I'm an old bastard, right? So.
Well, I don't know. You're probably not older than me. Well, I mean, if you went to the movies and saw it, you're probably about the same age as me.
Yeah, I was born in 1980 there, so I'll be 41 this year now.
Oh, so you're older than me. Okay.
Yeah.
Not by much, but a little bit.
Yeah. Generation X, baby.
It's weird how I've started to realize, like, my brain doesn't seem to age, but and luckily, you know, my body seems to be holding up pretty good too. It's just, man, things change so much. Like people, you know, it's just, people start talking. About, you know, my kid thinks the '90s was like, you know, 50 years ago or something.
Yeah, right. I get that. The kids that work there, they're all like early 20s, 22, 23, right? And I'm like, I could be your fucking dad, man. Just listen to me for a minute, you know. I know what I'm doing here, bud. You know.
My son's like 16, and he's always asking me questions about, you know, tell me what it was like back in the day before the internet and stuff.
That's actually a crazy thing to be able to say nowadays. Is that we grew up before the fucking internet, right? Like. I ate dirt, rode a what do they call those, three-wheeler? Are the most dangerous. Yeah, big wheels and then three-wheelers. Yeah, man.
Oh, you mean actual three? Yeah, those things are dangerous as hell.
Yeah, yeah, but I watched my buddy hit the ground so hard we thought he was dead. Fuck, he would put his leg down as he was turning, and that was it, man. It sucked him right off the machine, right? Fucking face first in the ground. It's like, oh yeah, don't tell the parents what just happened.
Yeah, that's a little. Yeah. So,
but before you go any further, we haven't introduced you, man. Tell us who you are and what the fuck you do.
Sorry, man. We just got to talking about like pop culture, and I get into that shit. So
no, same here.
This is Matt Church, and I'm from the Charlotte, North Carolina area, and mostly is just a singer, songwriter is kind of what I'm doing most of the time now. I've been in a couple metal bands. I'm still in one currently, actually, called Kia Patrol, and we're working on getting a CD together. So it's probably going to be a while before we get back on tour again. But in the meantime, I've been doing my own solo stuff, and I've got like a new little CD album out that I'm kind of like showing people and just as much as I can. You know, it's a cheap. What's that? Cheap pop right there. So you know.
Yeah, no, do it. That's what we're here for, man.
I went to an open mic last night, and I told everybody, I said, hey, I got albums for sale if you might like some. And somebody yelled out, they're like, oh, you're doing the cheap album plug. I was like, well, what do you think open mics are for, dipshit? Like,
no, exactly, man. Like
you put $5,000 in making a CD, and then see if you don't go out and try to panhandle that thing to everybody you can, you know?
No, exactly, right? Like it's. People don't realize how expensive. They think you're signed by a record label. They're giving you millions of fucking dollars. That's why I'm here at open mic night, you know? Because I'm making millions with my record.
I had somebody last week, actually. They're like, dude, I was on Spotify, and I saw that you've got, you know, like 20,000 streams on a song. So you must be doing real well for yourself. I'm like, you realize 20,000 streams in 2021 literally means like you know $1.50. Like that's fucking nothing.
Yeah.
It's like,
no, it's true though. Like that's really nothing. You know,
we don't get, you know, the artist gets screwed. Now that's the one good thing I will say about the discs. Actually, now that I'm selling these, you know, I actually make at least a little bit of profit off each one. The ones online, you know, people buy my music for like $1, and I'm like, I literally see like 4 cents of that, you know.
No, yeah, it's pretty amazing how even this day and age they fucking don't understand how that works. You know, like even
Yeah.
on my end now, I've got a few shows I've just kind of put together at a stage. I just got a deal with.
Yeah.
It's costing me $1,000 to throw my birthday party
Oh wow.
for myself. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, and it's insane. $1,000.
yeah,
Jeez. And that's
that's
just
getting. I've got 3 bands for that though. You know what I mean? Like the bands have to make money. I can't just have them play for me, right?
yeah. I mean, unless they're just really close friends with nothing else to do, you know.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting one all the way from Montreal coming for me, so that's about 7-8 hours for them to come down. So
Oh,
yeah.
but you got to at least give them that gas money.
Oh yeah, man. I'm giving them a place to stay. They're getting food, getting some cash, you know, fucking some drinks.
I got a friend of mine out like that in Florida. You know, he books me these gigs where he really can't pay me nothing, but I do at least make the gas to get down there, and he gives me somewhere to stay, and he, you know, gets me drunk all day. So I'm kind of like, it's kind of fun, you know. And last time we got jet skis, so it was worth it, you know.
Oh shit, that's all right, man. That's kind of on my end. I get a lot of free concerts. Like I get tickets or get to go backstage with the bands now, right? And so I'm saving money there. Is how I look at it, right?
Let's do random question. Like, who's the most famous band you've got to meet?
Personally, I got to meet OTAP. I got to meet her and stuff. I held the door for her as she come into the concert hall and we talked.
Nice.
I got to do the same thing for Stan Lee while I was at Comic-Con. I held the door for him as he come through in his chair and he was like, hello, hey man. Had to spend a few minutes talking to me.
Nice.
But as far as the show goes, we've had Razor on. They're pretty big.
Okay.
One of my personal favorites was Dan from Spengali. They're fucking huge band, right? And they're more Canadian than anything. They're pretty famous worldwide, not so much in the U.S., I guess. But
yeah.
And then definitely Cauterize. They're one of my favorites I've had on. They're on the show again, I think tomorrow, actually. So.
Only guy I've met that I think would be big in Canada would be, you ever heard of Chris Jericho?
Yep. He's a wrestler, no?
Yeah, he's from Canada, so I know he's like big in that area.
I think he's from Scarborough, but they always say Toronto.
They always say Toronto, yeah, because no one knows what, you know, Scarborough.
That's the only place you guys know about us, right?
Yeah, basically, you know.
They got them there, Toronto, up there in Canada. You know?
But my metal band got to open for him one time, his band, and that was kind of cool because I'm a big wrestling nerd too. I was like, I've always grew up watching stuff, so I was excited to meet him, and he wasn't nothing, but he was just very kind of quiet to himself, you know.
Yeah. I can imagine how much he gets harassed everywhere he goes. He's pretty recognizable, right?
Yeah, it was kind of a funny thing because I remember he stayed on the bus, like, and there was like 4 or 5 opening bands, you know, and all these bands are playing, and I was talking to his guitar player because his band was very personable, and I remember saying like, you know, I hate this because I've always wanted to meet him, and he kind of seems like a dick. It's a shame he stays on the bus the whole time. His guitarist kind of schooled me for a minute. He says, well, he said, think of it this way, you know, he says, the other bands are in there playing right now and you're getting ready to play too. And he says, if he comes off that bus and comes out here to watch you guys, no one's going to pay attention to you guys. They're all going to be all over him because, you know.
Yeah, it's how it works. You know?
Yeah, he's like, he stays on the bus out of respect for the other local bands so that they're able to be heard and people pay attention to them and not him. And I was like, well, now I feel like the dick, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, you know, sometimes you got to take a little step back and hear someone else's perspective to fully know the situation, right? So.
Yeah, exactly. I was just like, wow, I didn't really think of it that way. That actually makes a whole lot of sense, you know? It was like, well, okay, what a nice guy.
No, right. So you might as well jam us a little tune. I keep getting sing, jam for us. Okay. You know. So.
Cool. Yeah, I don't really see a lot of those comments. So are you going to sing for us? Okay, there's yes. All right. So let's do. I'm just going to start with like a little cover song that we were talking about earlier. Kind of inspired me this morning with your Stone Sour stuff. I hope everybody can hear me all right.
Here, I'll pull you on the big screen.
Looking at you through the glass, I don't know how much time has passed. Oh God, I know it feels feels like forever. But no one ever tells you that forever feels like home. Sitting all alone inside your head. And how do you feel? Yeah, that's the question. But I forget you don't expect such an easy answer. When something like a soul becomes initialized and folded up like paper dolls and little notes, you can't expect those bitter folks. While outside you'll be looking in and describing what you see. Remember what you're staring at is me, looking at you through the glass. I don't know how much time has passed. Oh God, I know it feels like forever. But no one ever tells you that forever feels like home. Sitting all alone inside your head. How much is real? Oh, that's the question. Expect no an easy answer. Mess up the words a little bit, it's on there. How much is real? So much to question. Oh, and now endemic Americans contaminating everything without come from the heart. Never did right from the start. Just listen to those noises. No more silent voices before you tell yourself that it's just a different scene. Remember, it's just different from what you see. Looking at you through the glass. I don't know how much time has passed. Oh, God, I know it feels like forever. No one ever tells you that forever feels like home. Sitting on alone inside your head. And if the stars just shine free, and if the stars will light you, looking at you through the glass. I don't know how much time has passed. Oh God, I know it feels like forever. And no one ever tells you that forever feels like home. Sitting all alone inside your head. Man, if the stars just shine free, and if the stars will light you, man, if the stars just shine free, and if the stars will light. Sweet.
Nice, man. That was fucking awesome.
Hopefully it went well. I mean, it says I got full signal internet, so we'll see.
Yeah. No, it
Thanks.
seemed to went through pretty good, right? Everyone was saying Roxy Fox says you're fucking awesome. Our friends all the way.
That's the girl that was going to jump in and join us. She wrote me this morning.
Yeah, she was going to, all the way from the Philippines, but she had to work for a bit, and then I guess staring at the computer for so long gave her a bit of a headache, right? So
it happens.
Yeah.
That's actually really cool. That's one thing I love about this online thing is you can just, like I got somebody I'm talking to from Canada, I got somebody from the Philippines, Australia, and they're all right there on your screen right away. What a cool concept,
It's been quite the amazing thing you can do nowadays in that aspect. Like you said, we're we're connecting music from around the world now with the show instead of just the local. It's a local scene from around the world. That's how I look at it, right?
Yeah, I think it's interesting just because, I mean, well, I don't want to say it like in our day, you know, without trying to make us sound too old.
Yeah.
It's like the more people that came out to the live show, the better off you were, you know. And in the 90s, I remember, you know, if you could get 50 or 60 people in a bar, like, you know, you were hot shit, you know. I mean, that was good money. You're making good money. Everybody's buying beer. It's great. But to do that, like, I mean, you had to, like, kiss, you know, 30 people's ass, and they had to kiss 30 of their friends' ass, and you had to give out, you know, a bucket of beer. There's just always different gimmicks and processes you had to do to try to get people in, you know. And now, in this new age, you can literally just turn your camera on, and now I have 50 people watching me, you know, like that. And it's
just like that.
Yeah, it's like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, this is a whole new, like, it's a different struggle now, you know, but it's definitely easier on one level, and then you also have the computer problems, and so it's a little bit harder on the other level because you have to learn technology and stuff, which me and you talked earlier, we're both trying.
Yeah, trying to learn, right?
Yeah.
So, and also, I always find it not the same because when I first started doing the show, I would drive down to you in South Carolina. I love Charleston, by the way. It's one of my favorite places to go. Yeah, I love the old cobble street. You guys kept all that, and the old market there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would just come right to you, and then we'd sit down, we'd do the interview. But with everything that's going on in the world, I had to fucking rethink my plan. But it's also allowed me to get bands from Australia. We've had a couple bands on from Moscow now, right? And France, Germany, like, kind of allowed us to open our doors to other music as well, right?
Yeah. And I mean, that's just such a cool concept because it's like, wow, now I have people watching all over the world, and, you know, just right away. You know,
instant fan base.
Yeah,
right.
It's an instant fan base, and I made some really, you know, 2020, the pandemic was terrible for a lot of people, unfortunately, but I was lucky, and it ended up, you know, somebody's like, hey, if you go online and play music, you know, you can actually make a little bit of money doing this, and I'm like, yeah, that's bullshit. There's no way to, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But I tried it to give it a shot, and then it turned into like, hey, you know, I met some really great people, you know, a couple big time fans. There's one lady named Renee who actually gave me this guitar. This is really cool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she wrote me, and she's like, I've got this old guitar that I just, you know, I don't ever play. I don't even really know how to play. She goes, it's like my uncle's or something of that nature. And she goes, would you be interested in it? And I'm like, maybe. I don't know. I mean, what kind of crap guitar we talking about? You know, she's like, I don't know, it says Taylor on it or something like that. I'm like, Taylor? Yes. I was like, I'd absolutely love that guitar.
Yeah, no doubt, right?
I was like, holy cow. You know, I've been so blessed to have people like Renee and others, Selena, that has really just kind of kept up with me online. And, you know, they really become just kind of like a little family, you know, a little online family. And that's really kind of neat. You know, I've never really had that experience yet. I'm still adjusting to it. And it's a little bit of a challenge to find the time to, you know, respond to people, because I feel like that's number one important is.
Yeah, I try to as much as possible. You know, I always reach out, say hello, try to go back through the show, comment on everyone's stuff, you know. And it's hard. It definitely takes fucking hours and hours of your time, you know.
Yeah, during the pandemic, it's gotten better now because I don't get as many viewers, but during the pandemic, I used to have, you know, 3,000 or 4,000 people watching like an hour. You go back and be like, thank you. You know, almost like your thumbs start to hurt after a while. It's like, this is really turning into a job at this point.
No doubt, get paid a penny per like, you know. But so your new CD, you said it's got you got 5 songs on this one? Or?
That's pretty bad. I had to look at the back of it that tells you what kind of, like, you know, how much I'm thinking this morning. But yeah, I've got 6 on here, and I tried to make it like super affordable. So I've been telling people, like, I'm selling the CDs at live shows for $5, and then $7 if you like buy it from me, and then I just send it to you. Because, you know, it cost me $1 to send it in the mail. So
I was gonna say, it does cost a little bit to mail stuff out, right?
Yeah, it costs a tad bit to sell it. So that's just the way it is. But yeah, it's
like I just put in a big merch order for my T-shirts, and 90% of them are going overseas. So I'm losing money on this deal this time around. But I really don't care on this one, right? So
I looked into shirts for a while too, and I've got a couple made like just for me. But as far as being able to sell them, I was like, man, I can't drop $1,000 for 100 shirts.
No. Well, I just had to work 3 weeks of overtime as much as possible to get my order in, But
I don't know if I want to do that either.
yeah. So, do you work full time then too and do music, or are you just strictly music now?
I did like strictly music for a while. Was living out of a van a couple years ago, and that was great and all, but started to get hungry.
Yeah, you get hungry now and again, right?
Yeah, it was like it gets kind of tough. And then I had this friend of mine. It's kind of a random thing. He was like, "Hey man, my job is hiring help for Christmas up in Charlotte," and he's like, "We're doing like putting together these big Christmas trees and stuff."
Mm-hmm.
And was, we could really use some help. And I'm like, all right. And he's like, it's just a seasonal job, but it's like, $10 an hour or whatever it was. And I was like, well, I mean, yeah, I could use a little extra money, so no problem. So I started doing that for a couple months, and then it turned into like, hey man, you're pretty good here. Like, you want to stay around all year? Like, you could help us do other stuff too, like they do work with plants for rich people.
Oh yeah.
Like Panther Stadium and stuff. Like, we do all the plants inside.
Oh, all the landscaping and such.
Yeah, well, like, it's not really landscape. It's like indoor plants, like office plants, I guess would be the best way.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, okay, yeah, I could do that. So now I'm just like doing that and making pretty good money. And they don't work me on the weekends, so I can still do my music. And I travel a lot, like going to Florida and South Carolina and mostly around here. But I actually really want to play in Canada. I did have somebody tell me they could hook me up with that. But I was
I
thinking,
could definitely 100% put you on a couple stages around here for sure, man. If you come up, I'll give you a place to stay as well. Like, hook you up with all that.
Give me a passport and go do that, because.
Oh, you haven't got a passport yet?
I had one like way back or a long time ago, because it's kind of funny. I tried out when I was like 20-ish. I tried out for a reality TV show here in the States.
Do you go on?
Yeah. And so they're like, apparently for these things, I didn't know this, but they do like 5 or 6 interviews. Like, it's not just the one thing. You just got to keep coming back, and they pretty much just keep cutting people and cutting people and cutting people. Well, then finally I got down to like one of the last 2 interviews, and they were picking 20 people for it. And I remember I was in like, at this point they had 30 people selected, so they were cutting 10 more.
Yeah.
And I was one of those 30. So I remember thinking like, well, if I get on this shit, like they're going to be like, because they already told you, like, if we pick you, like, you have to be ready to go. Like, right. So get your passports, get it all set and ready. And I remember I went and had it all ready and done and everything. And then I ended up getting cut like at the very last minute.
What show, man?
I was going to say, it turns out that show ended up being really well. It was called Survivor. And it was yeah. And they didn't tell us what the name of the show was. They just said, you'll be out in the wilderness, and it'll be like, we want different personality. It was kind of funny. I went in there on purpose. Like, I had this idea. I was like, I'm just going to be the biggest dick. Because I'm like, I mean, it's not really me, but I know that they're looking for like what's going to be
entertainment value, right?
Yeah, what's the entertainment value? So I remember like my very first interview, they're like, so there's going to be guys and girls on, just doing this show. Is that a problem with you? And I remember my comment was like, no, as long as they can cook, I mean, just do their job. I'm fine with whatever. Which is totally not how I feel at all.
Yeah, no, right?
I'm nothing like that. But I just tried to be the most sexist, offensive asshole that I could possibly be. And it worked. I got within like the last 30 people.
Yeah. Well, friends of mine from South Africa there with Stone Daisy, she just did an interview. They actually just premiered yesterday, and I was watching it, and their guest was almost on the the South African Bachelorette or whatever. And she was saying she had to go through like 5 or 6 fucking interviews, and they asked her everything and anything, man. And
yeah, they want as entertaining, and it's also I've learned over the years that it's like a marketability thing too. Like if, for instance, let's say you're on American Idol, like you want to go on there, and because I had some friends of mine that was on the show, and I tried out once or twice, but it was one of those things where it was like, last year we didn't have enough like Hispanic people watching. So now when they're doing tryouts, they're like, we need to find more Hispanic people to put on the show to bring in that core audience to watch this year. And every year it's always, who are we lacking? What can we bring? It's just all about, it's not necessarily about the singing and how good you are. A lot of it has to do with who can you bring to our screen all it's about, screen time. You know,
Well, it's kind of my not hatred. I wouldn't say I don't hate it, but my problem with shows like that and shit, they're not there for the artist. They're not there to help that artist. You
not
know,
at all. Yeah, they
they're
could care
there to
less
make a
about you.
fucking dollar, and they want to make $1 million fucking dollars, and that's all they care about, man.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, William Hung was, one of their best, people loved to see how terrible that kid was, and they put him on the show. To this day, he still gets CDs because people want to watch him.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy, right? And that 15 minutes of fame could actually work out, for the long run, But then
I'm trying to think, like, I don't know, a lot of the modern music today drives me crazy too. Like, I was listening yesterday to the radio, and that Billie Eilish chick comes on, and I get, like, the beat is cool, and I like her presentation. Like, I don't want to say this, but I was just listening to it, and, like, the whole time, like, the whole song, she's like, she just whispers into the microphone. She never sings. Like, she just kind of, like, whispers into the microphone the whole time. And I'm just like, this is music now? Like, what? Like, this girl can't even sing. Like, it's that I've heard in her songs. I mean, I used to think that about Lady Gaga too, because I was like, she's all auto-tuned, and then I heard her without the shit, and I'm like, wait a minute, like, it was the people that presented her the wrong way. This chick's actually extremely talented. Right?
Oh, here's Lisa now. Yeah, I got her link up to her podcast up on my channel there, and then you can find her over on YouTube under Stone Daisy. They're killing it over there in South Africa with the bands and their guests.
Oh, nice. Somebody asking a question or something?
Selena said she drove an hour to watch you play.
She did. She came out and see me. Oh, this story gets even better. So she came out to see me at this little open mic, and I only played, maybe 3 or 4 songs, and she comes out with, I think she said it was her nephew or cousin or something like that. I don't know. He's a little young guy with her. And when she gets home, she's telling me, like, so yeah, my cousin, like, totally ditched his job tonight because I told him that he pretty much had to give me a ride an hour to see you because that's what I really wanted to do. And I think the poor kid lost his job.
Oh, man, eh?
And I was like, well, damn, that makes me feel kind of bad. The kid was pretty nice, and now he's jobless because his, friend made him give him a ride.
So I gotta ask you, where are some of the best spots you'd like to play? Cause you travel around a bit. You hit all the open mics. You do the bar scene too, right? So
there's actually this little when I was in a metal band, there's this little place in Charlotte called the Milestone, and it is like the dirtiest. Like, you should probably get a tetanus shot after you play their hole in the wall kind of place.
Yeah, the best places to go.
Yeah, I was just like, there's like stickers everywhere, and like your feet stick to the floor at some parts. Like, it's just total garbage. The sound system is garbage, but like Nirvana played there, REM played there, like some really big bands that I used to love as a child played there. So that's one of my favorite places just because of the history of the building, even though it's, you don't expect to sound good or anything. You just
just be happy you're playing.
It's one of those feeling things. Like, you just kind of get on stage and feel that. And then let's see. I always love Florida. Florida's just got a good group of people. Like, everybody there is just really nice. I don't know if it's because the weather.
Everybody shits on Florida, man. But every time I've been there, gone down there, whether it's work or party or just a fucking vacation, I've always met great people there, man.
Yeah, Florida's like super chill. I mean, I went down there, like, I was down there for like 2 weeks ago, actually. I played a little gig, and I don't know, I guess because it's 4th of July weekend, but like they had hundreds of people on bicycles just riding around in circles, and I got my friend's golf cart and was riding around people, and everybody's like, and it was like always being, people throwing beads at us and stuff, and we're throwing beads back. It was fun. It was kind of like being in New Orleans, but a lot closer.
Yeah, right.
Really cool. I was just like, well, I don't see why anybody would hate this. I don't get it. And Florida's a great place. I've always had a wonderful time here.
No, right. I had a great time in New Orleans last time I was down there too.
Oh no! Yeah, I went down. I went to New Orleans for WrestleMania.
Oh,
Yeah, for about
Selena's got a quick question, but I want you to go elaborate on that a little bit more before we bring up her question here.
what was her question?
She's asking, what kind of pets do you got?
Pets.
Yeah.
I get a lot of crap for this. I hate dogs. I don't want a dog. I don't have any desire to have a dog around me. It's just, I don't. I'm not gonna be mean to a dog or anything. I could like appreciate somebody else's puppy,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. Something about the smell of a dog just disturbs me. I don't want one in my house. But I have a pet snake.
Oh, nice.
And I like that because there's no smell. He doesn't bark, and I only have to feed him like once every 2 weeks. And he's pretty much just lays there and don't do shit unless I get him out and want him to. So
we had a pet snake, my cousin and I, a big python, 8 feet. I think he was about 8, 9 feet long by the time when I moved out, right? But he was great, man. Yeah, like we said, you feed him once, twice a month. He'd come out on me while I did dishes and shit. The odd time you'd have to like get him to get off your neck, but fucking he was pretty good all in all.
So what was he talking about before? I'm trying to think.
WrestleMania, New Orleans.
WrestleMania, and of course the streets were packed because they had 70,000 people there in the arena. So I mean, they're everywhere. And I ran into some celebrities on the street. Actually, I saw Mario Lopez.
Oh, he's funny.
Later was walking down the street, and I remember taking pictures with him and stuff. He was actually really nice, and I didn't realize how tiny he was. Like, that guy is super small.
Is he?
Yeah, like I'm a small dude. Like I'm only like 5'10".
Yeah.
And then when I saw him, he came up to like my shoulder, so I was like, whoa, like, it was like Mario Lopez, but as a midget. I never realized how tiny that guy was. He's like super. He's probably got to be 5'7", 5'8" at the most. I was like, holy cow! I didn't realize he was that little.
I always thought he was like 6 foot or something. Like when you see him on camera and stuff, right?
I guess just because when we grew up watching on Saved by the Bell, he was all buff, which I guess he's still, he's actually still in good shape. It's just he's just tiny, so you don't realize he's not this big old dude.
Well, it's like growing up watching Stallone, and Rambo 1, 2, 3, 5, right, and all the other. Like he's fucking like 5'2", 5'3" or something.
Yeah, he's small.
Yeah,
but I bet that was like, wow, that dude is as big as I thought. And Hulk Hogan is huge.
Oh yes, man.
Yeah.
I got to see him. We went to a wrestling match back in the day, and I got to watch him walk into the ring and stuff, man. And he's a like big fucking dude, man. Yeah.
Even now, he's a pretty big guy. Me and my brother went and met him about 3 or 4 years ago, and I'm like, dude, this guy's almost 80. He's still huge. Like, what? I guess I don't know. Your vitamins did a lot of
good. Hey, he preached that all the time, man. Your vitamins. All right. Did you catch that documentary series they did on all the individual wrestlers?
Oh, of course I did. Yeah, I watched a lot of that stuff. I actually used to be an independent wrestler. I did like the small town stuff, and I actually went and got trained and went to a school for it. And I did that for about like 4 or 5 years, I guess.
Yeah.
Pro to actually being a pro wrestler. And I met a lot of those people, actually, a lot of the guys, all the ones that used to be super famous and now they're not so super famous. So they, do whatever they can for a buck. I've met all those guys.
That's awesome. Actually, the woman I had on the other night, Laura, she's into wrestling and she knows, like, she went and got trained. She could body slam you if you wanted. Like, nice. I guess, I didn't know she was like, we were sitting down after the show. I got invited down to cover the Hamilton Musicians Guild, which is a big thing that the city's been promoting the local bands. They're paying them to do a live stream for the next 30 days. They have new bands on all the time. Yeah. And they got into that. And then that's how I met them. And then afterwards, we went out to drinks and had dinner and stuff before I interviewed her on the show. And she got right in telling me how she did all the training. She could hit you with the chairs, turnbuckles, like does it all, right? It was like, yeah.
The chair thing, there's not a lot of training for. You just
take it.
Just do that. Yeah. I mean, you try not to hit somebody, in the neck.
Wrestling's huge in South Africa as well. So
yeah, that's what I was just reading that. I was just like, I can say it was like.
Then Foxy Rocks, WrestleMania, SummerSlam.
I've never been to a SummerSlam. I've been to 3 different WrestleManias.
Oh, nice, eh?
Yeah.
I just went to one of the, like the little like the TV show, like when they were just filming the normal TV show. They had it at fuck, I forget where it was in Toronto. It might have been in Cops Coliseum. Actually, I was so young.
I know that. Shoot, is it Toronto that has the Sky Dome or something like that?
Yes, yeah. Well, we used to. They're tearing all that down now.
Oh, that's a shame. I was
Yeah.
gonna say, I know they filmed a lot of the They did like a couple of the WrestleManias out there, and a lot of the guys that I did know that had been a part of that and stuff, always complimented Canada, because they're just like, something about the Toronto fan base is just so loud, and like it's just such a vocal place to go and work. They used to say,
Yeah.
well, this is the vocal.
She should have just came on the show there, Roxy. Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, man, I can talk wrestling forever. I mean, and I got lucky. I got to meet a lot of my heroes. I got to work with a lot of my heroes, and it's kind of cool.
That's kind of cool. That's actually really cool, man, because it's amazing how many people I talk to through this show that are into the wrestling, or they're the fucking Star Wars geeks like myself and stuff, sci-fi nerds, and you're wearing a Hellboy shirt, right?
This is actually a Kia Betrayal. So
oh, okay. I thought I just seen Hell, and then it looked like Boy because I could barely see, right?
But I do know who Hellboy is. So.
Yeah, right. I usually wear a band shirt or something, but I figured since you're down my neck of the woods, I'll wear my Georgia shirt today.
That's cool. Are you really into the sports?
Not so much. I don't even own a TV. I never have. I've never watched TV, as far as that goes, other than wrestling. Because when we were kids, we'd be working in the field, and every day at lunch, Grandpa would know. I don't know how he knew what time it was, but we'd go back, eat lunch, and watch the wrestling at noon till 1, and then back into the field you'd go work, and then every Saturday night or Sunday night, I think it was, we'd sit down, eat dinner, and watch, fucking Sunday night wrestling and all that. And,
nice.
Lisa's got a question for you.
All right, go ahead.
She wants to know who your favorite wrestler is of all time. Then.
That is so hard, because I mean I'm like into it enough to where some questions are impossible.
Yeah, right. Who are a couple of your favorite ones, then?
I mean, as a kid, Hulk Hogan was like my all-time hero, and then you grow up and you kind of like watch all that old stuff again, and then you start to appreciate it from a different angle. And I think Randy Savage is probably one of my favorite performers of all time, as far as a character base. I mean, he's just just so full of energy. As far as anybody current goes, there's this guy that works there right now named Cedric Alexander. He's one of the lightweight guys, but I actually trained with him and worked with him for a little while. He's a super, super nice guy, good family guy, and he finally got like lucky and just happened to be at the right place and right time, and now he's traveling all around the world living his dream. And I just find that, like, every time I see him on TV, I just have to stop and watch this.
Like, that's cool, though, right? Like, oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah, mine was always Hogan, right? He was always a huge one, and then I always liked Roddy Piper. He was one of my favorites, right?
I got to meet Piper. He was it was weird. I met him at it was like this horror convention thing where like it was all horror movies. And they had like Savini there and a couple of these guys that were in all these little B horror movies and stuff. Well, he was there too because he was in that movie They Live.
Yeah, man. He was in a few B movies too, right?
Yeah, he was in a bunch of B movies, so they kind of had him there as a B movie actor. So it, like, me and my brother went there, and we went there just because we knew he was going to be there. It turns out most people that went to that were not wrestling fans. They were all, horror
just fans. Horror movie fans, eh?
Yeah,
wow.
Which is great. I mean, that's fine, but it made it great for us because when we got there, we paid our money to meet him and get him to autograph something, and then we're starting to walk off, and he goes, "Hey guys, where y'all going?" And we're like, "Well, we're going to go, we just don't want to bother you," kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
He just goes, "Well, there's no line here. Y'all want to sit down and talk for a little bit?" Me and him both are just like, "Are you fucking serious?"
No doubt, right?
Yeah,
sitting down.
Like, there's nobody here. He's like, I'm sitting here at my table by myself. I mean, if you guys want to talk for a little bit, so we ended up hanging out with him for like 20 minutes. He turned out to be one of the most nicest, personable, just gentlest hearted kind of guys I've ever met. He was super, super nice. gave us all kind of advice. I remember asking him,
Yeah.
I told him I was a musician and stuff, and he's like, sell your music to anybody that'll buy it. He says, if it's a coffee commercial and they want it, sell it. He says, you just get yourself out there any way you can. He says, don't stick to morals and stuff. Screw that.
It's almost true on how you have to do that in that sense, right? Like,
yeah, I mean,
you're going to get called a sellout no matter what. As soon as you start making money, you're a sellout. So why not sell out the fucking Folgers coffee? Yeah. Make them a little jingle in the morning, And
yeah, he's like, feed your family however you have to do it, And he said that's actually the reason why. It was kind of interesting. He was telling us, he says, that's the reason I did the movies was because back in the 80s, which I think even now, he's like, wrestlers didn't have medical insurance. So he said, I had 3 children and I was a pro wrestler, so I'm getting beat up for a living, but with no medical insurance. So I'm, anytime something's wrong, I'm spending a fortune. So I found out that if I act and he said, I made $5,000 a year. He said, that was the law. He said, if I made $5,000 a year, I could get medical insurance under the Actors Guild in the United States. So what he would do is, he said, I started doing these B movies and I would always charge $5,000 to be in it. And I'd only do like 1 or 2 movies a year, but that way I had full coverage insurance-wise as a, quote, actor.
Yeah.
And I was hey, man, what a genius plan. I was like, well, I never thought about that. And he says, yeah. He says, I, never really took acting too serious. He's like, I didn't want to suck, but, he said, that wasn't, I was really just doing it because I needed medical insurance to my, I was like, wow. He found a loophole. And he
well, really being here in Canada, you always hear, oh, you guys have healthcare this, healthcare that. They're taking so much shit away from us. I have personal insurance now.
Yeah.
My fucking medical centers here, they're not going to cover me for, like, nothing's covered anymore, even here. A lot of our shit, like major surgeries, you got to buy your crutches, you got to pay for the fucking bed. Like, the only thing you're not paying is the actual doctor, but you got to pay for absolutely everything else, man. It's fucking crazy.
I'm sure. I mean, only person I've talked to is one of the fans I met is from England. She was talking to me one day, and we were just discussing random stuff. And I said something about having children here, how expensive it is. And she goes, "Well, what do you mean?" And I was like, "Well, the hospital bills and stuff." And she was like flabbergasted. She was like, "Y'all pay to have children?" And I was like, well, yeah.
Like 20, 30 grand, probably, at least.
I was like, you don't just go to the hospital and pop out a baby for free. And she was like, well, here in the United Kingdom, you do. That's a human right. And I was like, what?
Mm-hmm. I don't know, because I don't have children. I do know a lot of people that do, but I've never asked them if did they have to pay to have that kid, or here in Canada at least, right? I know my cousin's got 11, so that guy's fucking every dollar he's ever made's gone to his kids, right?
Dollars on some birth control, possibly.
I know. Their education's a little behind the times back home, so.
Oh man, 11 kids. I got 2, and I'm done. No more. I don't need any of that going on.
Yeah, no doubt, right? I'm just happy. I never could have any, even like when I was young, I got sick, lost all that. But I'm kind of glad I didn't, because of the lifestyle I've lived and everything. There's no way I would have been able to support a child, or let alone a wife and a child. Fuck, I would have been the deadbeat dad that you hear about all the time, right? Fucking doesn't pay for shit.
It's not easy. I don't know, like, at the time I had my son, I was like, oh, I'm so screwed. Like, this is not going to happen. Like, I can barely afford to feed myself. Like, this is going to be such a failure. And it turns out, my advice to anybody out there who's young and having kids, that what's really important is just being there for them. You'll find a way. You'll have parents, grandparents, and people that kind of help you out. I was lucky in that aspect and had some friends. But what really matters to kids at the end of the day is just if you're there.
You're actually there, right? So
just be there and talk to them, listen to when they're telling you crazy shit that don't mean anything, but just listen to them. Tell them that the picture they drew is good, because that's the stuff that sticks in their mind. I mean, my son doesn't remember anything I bought him.
No, right?
But he remembers.
I will be moving to the Philippines here. I got told I could just move to the Philippines, so I'm moving there in November.
I've thought about that when I was younger. Somebody told me, you can go to the Philippines and meet your girlfriend down there. And I'm like, nah, you know, we're like, no, you understand, like as an American, if you go there, like they just think you're the hottest thing, you know, just because you're so different. And, you know, kind of like Asian people over here, you know, everybody flocks over them because they're just different. And I'm just like, it might be worth the trip. I don't know. Why would I go check that?
Well, I'm definitely heading there in November and stuff, right? So,
Have you ever been before?
Not to the Philippines, not yet.
Okay, cool. I need
So
to
this
try
will be
it.
my first time there. I'm thinking I'm going to do 3 weeks. So we'll see. Yeah, it's definitely not easy. I know Lisa has a few kids herself that she's raising on her own and stuff. So
Yeah, it's
kudos
not.
to her, man. Like, yeah, even my mother, I don't know how she did it. Like, we never seen her because she had to fucking work 3 jobs, right, just to have the house and have the food on us.
That's
I
the way it's.
almost, you know.
Yeah, that's the way it's changed here in the United States. I remember, you know, when I was growing up, um, you know, if you had a middle class job, you could kind of afford like a little modest house, and you could probably feed 1 or 2 kids. You know, you wasn't rich, but you was all right. You know,
Yeah.
and now, 2021, like I don't know how it is in Canada, but I mean, you almost got to live like 3 or 4 families in a house to afford rent. I mean, it's just insane. Like a
No,
regular
it's
40-hour job does nothing here. Like that is a joke. You know, you can't.
no. It's like that here. Property prices, especially in Ontario, you can't get a fucking acre of land for like $50,000. Like, it's fucking unreal. These new homes that they're building, I call them stick houses. I kind
Yeah.
of rent one right now. I fucking hate it, but they're going for like $1 million, and you're on a 50 by 100 foot lot. You're like, what the fuck, man? I used to be able to buy, 20 acres for that, 40 acres for that.
Yeah, you know, your average 40-hour job, you know, I mean, just on average, you're maybe making $35,000-$40,000 a year. It's like, how am I supposed to afford $1 million home and eat, you know,
Yeah.
with $40,000 a year? It's like, that's a fucking joke. Like, that, you know, here in these states, they keep talking about, you know, well, we need higher wages. And I'm like, I don't think higher wages is our problem. Our problem is we don't have affordable lifestyles, you know, like we
Yeah.
need.
How about keep the wages the same and bring the other fucking prices down? Like,
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I
why
mean,
can't we do that? I don't get why that can't happen. Why do I got to pay $10 for a bag of milk now when I used to be able to just pay $5? Well, you know why it is? Because that guy bagging the milk wants $50 an hour to bag fucking milk.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. I don't know. I don't have the answers. I'm not a politician.
No, I'm not a politician, but I'm against money in that sense. You know what I mean? I'll work for fucking free. I work for free on this show all the time. Like, I'll go to buddies' houses, help them do the roof for nothing. They'll throw me some beers. Fuck right on. Thank you, man. Let me sleep on the couch for a bit. you know.
So okay, it looks like we've been going for about an hour now.
Oh yeah.
Here, so I'm going to do like one song off my CD. This one's called.
Yes.
Yeah, and then for the people watching, you can, after this is done, comment or leave a message for me, or message me if you can find me on Facebook. I'll try to make comments so y'all can find me at the end of this, and I can get you a CD. I do PayPal and Venmo and all those common little things you do, Facebook money, whatever. I pretty much do it all. Except for the scammy ones, I don't do. There's 1 or 2 out there that I just don't mess with because they take too much money from you. But anyway,
yeah, right.
So
it's amazing how they'd rather have more of the cut of your CD, which doesn't make sense to me. You're the one that made it. You put all the effort into it, right? So.
Yeah, I'm just not, so I just try to sell it like straight to the people, and for the ones who buy it online, if I can't see in person, I'll unwrap it and sign it and stuff to you if you want me to, or I'll leave it wrapped. It's kind of up to you. It's whatever you'd like. But so the song I was going to play, it's kind of got a little funny story. Was not funny at the time, but it's funny now, and I really don't normally tell people what songs are about because I want to, like. There was a couple songs I used to love when I was younger, and then I discovered what they were about, and now I'm like, well, that kind of sucks. Like, this song is not as deep as I thought it was. So I tend to normally not say what it's about because sometimes people interpret it something in a different way, and I don't want to fuck up their interpretation on most in general. But
yeah,
this one. This one's a little different, and it's kind of obvious, but it's also not extremely obvious. But what had happened was, and I'm just going to go into this because I don't normally tell this kind of stuff, and I kind of wanted to do something different for this show that I don't commonly do.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I was in a situation in my life. This has been about 2 or 3 years ago, where this lady who I'd never met, had no idea even how to pronounce her name. She's some Spanish lady. Had told the police that I had drove by her job, which I'd never been to in my life. Didn't even know where this place was, but exposed myself to her. So, here in the States, like, that's a big deal. Like, that's a big, like, I was looking at like 2 years in prison for this. Like, yeah, like, it's a big deal here. So I'm like, first of all, I don't even know who this person is, and I'm like, she doesn't even know English. I don't even know how she even knows me or knows my name. I have no idea. So I had to go get a lawyer, and I had to go to court and try to fight this battle with this lady that, who claims that I showed her my dinghy. And I'm like, I didn't do this, but what made it even worse was also here in the United States. I'm not sure how it is in Canada, but like, you don't have to be convicted of anything for it to be like public knowledge and public news. So since I was a singer around here that's been building my, brand for several years, the newspapers found it entertaining to also post this story all over town, So like, I'm, now they got my mugshot and stuff in the newspaper talking about what I'm as long as they say accused of, they can legally post it everywhere. They don't have to.
Yeah.
So, it all ended up great. Like, I went and fought it and won, and it was, kind of a ridiculous thing. But at the time, it was not a ridiculous. It was like, fucking up my life.
Yeah, 2 years in prison for fucking something you didn't even do.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
like, I didn't even do that. And then I've got, of course, like, you got a girlfriend, and now she's questioning, like, well, where were you that day?
Yeah. Oh, whipping Mike doing the helicopter.
Yeah, all this kind of stuff. Like, honey, we've been together for a year. Like, that's not me. Like, I'm not that confident. Like, come on, let's be realistic.
Yeah.
I got really lucky on that whole thing, because I actually was with a friend of mine that night that I was supposedly did this, and she took pictures of us hanging out at some bars and things, and I eventually had to take that to court and show the pictures that had the dates on them that showed that I was not even in the town that supposedly this happened. So
yeah,
everything got completely worked out and everything was totally fine, but it cost me a lot of embarrassment and a lot of explaining to people. It's like, I did not do it, and they're like, well, I saw it in the paper, and I was like, I know what you saw in the newspaper. It doesn't mean it's real.
Now, did the newspaper finish doing a write-up saying he was found innocent? Fucking with you, like.
Of course not. They didn't put that.
No. Not at all, right?
Yeah, that doesn't sell newspapers at all. So
no, that's so true, right?
It definitely changed like my perspective in life about what can happen to somebody from like media.
Mm-hmm.
Tell the whole story, and I'd never been in a situation like that before. Now all of a sudden I woke up one day and I got messages from everybody. Like, oh, you're some secret pervert or something. And I'm like, no, like, what are you talking about? It's like, I used to be a school teacher. Like, I taught kindergarten.
Yeah, right. Like,
it's like, it couldn't have got any worse. I'm like, geez.
Oh, right. Wow.
For, a bunch of pot or something, because at least my friends wouldn't judge me on that.
No, right. But yeah, just whipping her out at random people. People tend to frown on that.
So anyway, that's a story I don't typically tell, and everything worked out perfectly well, and I'm totally good, and I think I'm even a stronger person for it. I definitely don't judge people nearly on the level that I used to, but
no, right.
I was in a little dark spot, and I ended up writing this song called "Standing Tall." And it was trying to inspire myself to eventually get through this, and I really wasn't sure at the time what was going to happen. So glad what did happen did work out, and now I can sing the song with a happy face. Anyway, so
whenever you're ready.
Songs that mean something, and this song is called "Standing Tall," and that's kind of the story where this came from. And then after this, I think we'll call it a day.
Sounds good, my friend.
Heroes are gone. Where do I look? The earthquake's massive, my whole world seems shook. And the walls are falling down, it's getting harder not to show that my insides are twisted and I sure just where to turn. So gotta find a way to stay standing tall. As I scream inside, yeah, please help me, y'all. And I gotta learn to drink from this life's half empty cup. As I find my own way, never giving up. Lies made the truth by the media sources they kill. No. Or you can't always believe everything that you read as real. Yes, some I called my friends, they ripped me so far down. Oh, thank all the gods for the ones who chose you to stick around. Gotta find a way to stay standing tall. As I scream inside, yeah, please help me, y'all. Gotta learn to drink from this life's half empty cup. As I find my own way of never giving up. You will never beat me. You will never beat me down. Oh, you will never beat me. You will never beat me down. No, you will never beat me. You'll never beat me down. Oh, you will never beat me. You will never beat me down. Sweet.
Haha, nice, man. That's awesome. Fuck, you're the second guest we've ever had that plays some live music for us. So
That's awesome, man. You should try to get that more often. Most of these things I do, they always, get me to do like one song and talk about the song or whatever. This has been a lot more just me just being me. It's not really all about the music, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Most time I'm very like, how do I say it? Like professional and just very like, this is this and this is, It's kind of nice just being like, screw all that. We're just going to talk about Ninja Turtles and the Crow.
No, of course, right? Like that's what I always. It's normally we have a lot of heavy. I do a lot of like fucking deathcore, heavy metal bands. So obviously they're not going to play live on the show, but to have like yourself and Draven on last time with his acoustic, the single artist, I guess in that sense, as far as what you're doing right now. That's awesome to have you guys play, man. Fucking huge response, man. Everyone loves it. I'll
Well,
bring up some stuff here.
maybe when my metal band gets some new material put out, I have to do the show again, and we'll get the metal band playing, and maybe not playing, but we can play it through the system and everything, and I can like maybe explain some of the words. That's one thing I do like. Like to me, music's got to have a meaning to it, and the metal band I play in called Kia Patrol, they hired me in. Actually, they were already like a band. They had the guy up there was like doing the screaming shit, and he's like, we want you to like sing pretty, but we want to have him do the scream stuff. And I was like, I mean, I'll do this, but is he actually screaming words, or is he just
just screaming?
yeah, is he just making like random ass noises? Because I don't really want to be a part of that. And they started showing me the lyrics, and then I started listening to him, and I could actually hear real words coming out. So, and I started actually paying attention to the meaning of the words, and that's actually what drew me into the band. I was like, wow, this is like real shit. Like this is actually really good. Okay, cool. Like, I'm in. So
just had a amazing band Deadwood out of Montreal or Quebec up there. Fuck, come on, and they're one of the heaviest, brutalest, honest bands I've heard in a while. Especially if we're up and comers. Like they're pretty new. They're not new to the scene, but they're new as a band.
Yeah,
it's fucking phenomenal, man. But yeah, you got to watch the lyric video to understand what he's saying because it's so heavy and it's so fuck in your face, right?
Nice. Oh yeah, I have to check that out. I'm actually supposed to see a metal show tonight. Actually, I'm supposed to go see some friends of mine. They're in this metal band called Scars Remain, and they just got a new music video out.
Oh shit, man! I'll have to check them out too, right?
Later, I mean, those guys they're just now really getting started, and they just got them a new guitar player. This guy named Neil is so good. He sings really well too. So now they're like doing dual singing and just, I mean, it's they're getting greater and greater.
Oh, wow, man. Well, fucking enjoy tonight, man. Enjoy for sure. And I got a few things I'm going to send over to you later today. Some other options for you to get some more publicity, get some more stuff out. And we'll talk about maybe having you on the stage. Oh, fuck. You can't come to Canada yet. So I'll work on getting... Work on that, and I'll work on getting you a couple stages down south too for you.
Sweet, man. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for having me. Thank you for all the people who watch and support, and contact me anytime. I'm definitely up to talk to anybody and get to know anybody. The more the merrier.
Perfect, man. I guess play it loud and play it proud, people. And we'll see you guys tonight. We 100% Roxy will be on tonight, as far as I know. And then we have Dan Wanamaker, who's a promoter such as myself, and he also is in a band and stuff. So we'll be having that up too.
Sweet.
Awesome show by everybody here. Awesome. Well, I'll put up one more comment and I'll take us offline.